happy Easter, everybody. And also, I've just got back from the Quakes 2 versus North Texas SC game, and I actually did a Sports Off Series episode on that game, so keep an eye on that one later this week. I mean, most likely that video will be uploaded a little bit late because I just have so many video to upload onto my channel, which includes part 1 of the review of match week number 7. And you notice I say part 1 because I am actually not going to look at all 14 games that happened from this week, because it is right now 8:46. I have to go back to work tomorrow at 4:30 in the morning, and I know last night I didn't get a lot of sleep at all. I only got like 3.5 hours of sleep because I was just trying to watch every single highlights as much as possible, and not to mention I did ground hop in Sacramento, and I didn't get home till around 9 o'clock. And yeah, I just think that I just totally will not have any energy to do all 14 games and look at all 14 games from match week number 7. So therefore, I'm going to do that video tomorrow. And, this video most likely will still be uploaded tomorrow because, usually when I upload a video that is going to be like 40 or 50 minutes long, like what this video is going to be, yeah, it's going to take a while for it to upload to my channel. But that being said, let us actually get into the first game, which is Montreal versus the Vancouver Whitecaps, and Montreal almost blew it in this one. In fact, I actually turned off this game when Vancouver thought that they scored the equalizer of this game, and that I thought it was going to be a 2-2 score, and I was already prepared to say that, well, it seems like Montreal is back to their old self, which is, in the early part of the season, they always find ways to blow games, to either get a draw or even get a loss after they were in a very good position, but they were saved by VAR in terms of them almost blowing a 2-0 lead. Now, they did get the 1-0 lead just 58 seconds into this game as Mihailovic would score from Johnston to get Montreal a 1-0 lead. I mean, I know there's definitely a lot of whisper of early MVP candidate from Georgi Mihailovic, and, that's not wrong because he has had a great start to the season, and I'm pretty sure it just even put even louder noises of the fact that he definitely should deserve a chance to be on the U.S. men's national team. I mean, it's still criminal, in my opinion, that Mihailovic hasn't really break into the U.S. men's national team, consider how well he's been playing for Montreal. And I know he is still playing in MLS, and, I know if you want to break into the national team, you need to, of course most likely going to be either a favorite of Greg Berhalter or playing in the European League, and it just seems like that's not the case for Mihailovic. But don't be surprised in the future, and at least in the next off-season, we could finally see Mihailovic make that jump to Europe, because I really feel like he's ready to do it, consider the career that he has with his breakout year with the Chicago Fire, and in these last 2 seasons for Montreal, he has been absolutely amazing. Now, Gall tried to answer quickly for the Whitecaps, but he puts that one wide before Kone puts it a bit high from long range. And, after a fast start to this game, the game kind of become a little bit tight. I mean, we thought that there was going to be a lot of chances in this game after 8 minutes. No, there wasn't really much that happened between that to the 33rd minute, where Kyoto just flashed one high from the back post, and we head to halftime with Montreal taking a 1-0 lead. Now, in the second half, Montreal takes a 2-0 lead, and once again, they score very quickly coming out of the break. It's Kyoto scoring from Mihailovic and Ibrahim to double the lead for Montreal. Kone trying to make it 3-0 in favor of Montreal, but his long-range shot that was actually deflected, that goes straight to Hassan. Lapinainen then flashed one wide from close range in the 63rd minute, and there's no doubt that Montreal was really pressing for that third goal. But then in the 65th minute, Vancouver got one back. It's Brian White scoring here to give Vancouver some life in this one, and I'm not quite sure if this is actually the first goal that Brian White has scored this season. I mean, I know that he's started the season on the IR and have just recently been back from the injury list, but if that is the case, certainly he has got off the mark here, and let's hope that this is the beginning of him once again scoring double-digit goal like he did last season with the Vancouver Whitecaps. But I also said that this was completely against the run of play, because up to that point, Vancouver was not in this game whatsoever. I mean, it was all Montreal in this one, and you kind kind of fear that, you know, especially if you're a Montreal fan that starts Saputo, you've seen the story before. Like, you know that this is probably not going to go well for your team, especially whenever this team kind of face any adversity. Cavalier then had a one-hopper that goes straight to Breeza. And, you know, as the time winds down, there was no doubt that Vancouver was pressing for the equalizer. Dahome had a shot that goes straight to Breeza before Cavallini tried to chip one in over Breeza, but that one missed wide. And then in the third minute of stoppage time, this is where I talk about how I thought this was the equalizer for the Vancouver Whitecaps, and I basically turned this game off thinking that was pretty much it, because this was really the last kick of the game when Tosan Ricketts basically scored a looping header to tie the game for the Vancouver Whitecaps. But little did I know that when I actually watched kind of the highlights, I mean, I was actually surprised at first that this game ended 2-1, because I swear that, you know, I thought it was a mistake on the league website, the fact that I saw the equalizer score for the Whitecaps. So how in the world did Montreal still able to win 2-1? Oh yeah, there was a VAR play that happened after Ricketts scored, and you know, when they go to VAR to see whether or not if Ricketts was offside, yeah, they found out that he was in an offside position. So therefore, the goal, of course, was disallowed, and this is why Montreal was kind of saved by VAR in this one, though rightfully so. I mean, when you look on the replay, it was pretty clear that Ricketts was in an offside position, and yeah, that's got to be aggravating for Vanni Sartini's team, and especially for Vanni Sartini himself. I mean, he was definitely celebrating when Ricketts scored that equalizer, and I definitely don't want to be him with the way that he later found out that all that celebration that he has of seeing his team getting a point, and then that goal doesn't count because VAR basically overturned it because the player that scored what could have been the tying goal was in an offside position. But like I said, Montreal was able to win 2-1 in this game, and the shots in this one, 12 shots compared to 6 that Vancouver has. 5 shots on goal compared to 3 that Vancouver has. Both teams had 3 shots off target. 2 shots that was blocked compared to none that Vancouver has. And possession-wise, 55% possession compared to the 45% possession that the Vancouver Whitecaps has in this game. And for the Whitecaps, the miserable start that they have this season continue. And this is probably one of the more hard done one that they had, because they thought that they got a point in this one, and they stole a point away from Montreal at Stade Saputo, only for VAR to basically deny them that. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is the Quakes and Nashville. Now, I know the big talking point coming out of this game is that this most likely, well, I don't even want to say most likely, but it's pretty much the last game that Matias Almeida will be coaching for the Quakes. As you know, there's been numerous sources that the Quakes indeed is going to let Almeida walk, and that, you know, tomorrow we will hear the official announcement that the Quakes have officially fired Matias Almeida, and I'll definitely do a video talk about, you know, Matias Almeida legacy with the Quakes, which, you know, I know it definitely did not end it in a great note. In fact, it ended probably one of the most sour note that I've seen a head coach eventually getting fired by the team. But, you know, I'll definitely take a look at some of the good times and also some of the bad time under Almeida, because, you know, after all, I will definitely look back, you know, down the line, I'll definitely look back of Matias Almeida coaching this team. And, well, you know, he hasn't really got the best that I thought he would do with this Quakes team when he came into the league a couple of years ago. There's no doubt that he has created some of the most entertaining soccer that any Quakes fans have been wishing this team play for a long time. I mean, all those years suffering under Dominic Kinnear, it feels like it's maybe is worth it now that we see what Almeida has done to the team. Though, like I said, I will also talk about the downfall of when really that's the wild ride that Almeida has guided this team just simply did not work. Now, if you ignore, of course, all that, and also ignore the fact that, once again, the Quakes suck in terms of defending, one thing that I will say that the Quakes have at least done relatively well, even if they still remain the only team to have not won a single game this season, is that they have shown some good resiliency, because it is not very often a team can come back against Nashville twice in a single game, and that's exactly what the Quakes did in this one. Now, early on in the first half, the Quakes basically dominate possession as Nashville was going into their usual low block, and this is also why I didn't think that this was an a guaranteed win for Nashville because, you know, the way that they, of course, play, especially on the road, they're not a team that basically dominates you. They're a team that basically put you in kind of a situation where you're basically going to dominate possession, but really you're not going to do much against that defense because that defense is going to frustrate the hell out of you. And in the occasion when they do go on the counterattack, they will find a way to basically score a goal on the counterattack and basically just defend for the entire part of the game. And I thought this game maybe also would have played into the hands of Nashville because we know the Quakes are terrible in terms of defending counterattack, and they always get exposed, and we definitely saw it in this game too. But in the 15th minute, Liel had a shot that was clear off the line by Marie. Espinoza then hits one straight to Willis in the 16th minute before Mukta trying to chip JT Marksikowski from 40 yards out, and he didn't actually miss that one by much, but it just goes a little bit high. And as expected, the Quakes, they were getting killed every time when the ball is turned over in the midfield or whenever Nashville go on the break. And I also wrote, as expected also, when the Quakes trying to move the ball going forward, they're moving it way too slow, and they're just making it so predictable for Nashville to defend. Man, I mean, I know Nashville is definitely one, if not the toughest defense to crack, but the way that the Quakes were moving the ball, yeah, even if you face against a bad defense, that is pretty easy to basically defend when they're just kind of moving side to side and not playing direct whatsoever. Gregoric did team a shot from 17 yards out that goes wide in the 32nd minute. Before in the 37th minute, Nashville takes the lead. And it's Hani Mukhtar scoring from Godoy to give Nashville a 1-0 lead. So Anibal Godoy haunts his whole team by getting on the assist chart. But really, this is just a great individual. Well, it was a combination of a great individual run for Hani Mukhtar, but also some typical shocking defending from the Quakes where, yeah, that guy that basically is going to be running for MVP this season that is known as Hani Mukhtar? Yeah, you probably need to at least slow him down, or at least not just run at your defense down in Broadway and basically take a free pot shot for about 17 yards out, because that's exactly what happened here, where it was absolutely shocking to see how nobody picked up Mukhtar whatsoever, and he just basically run in the middle and just kind of took a pot shot completely uncontested. I mean, there is literally no other defense in MLS. Like, even some of the worst defensive team in the league, that I don't think I've seen that kind of happen with them too. But that's just something about the Quakes, and that this is also the reason why a lot of people have said bad things about this team, and why they also are a team that's still winless, because they just cannot defend whatsoever. Even though it's pretty obvious that if there's even one guy to at least slow down Mukhtar on that play, he wouldn't score in that one either. But instead, no one stopped him there, and just kind of him walking down straight down Broadway. I mean, that was just way too easy for Nashville to score. But yeah, that gives Nashville a 1-0 lead, and that would be the score heading into halftime. And I was very close to even putting game, set, and match, because there was no way I think the Quakes were going to come back, knowing the fact that Nashville is a team that is very good in terms of holding on to the lead. But in the second half, to my biggest surprise, the Quakes did get an equalizer, and it actually came from the free kick, as Ebobisse would tie the game up at 1 apiece. I mean, Jeremy Ebobisse have definitely started to heat up after he got a brace in that game against Houston, and he would get another brace in this one. But I didn't know that he can score from free kick range. I mean, during his time with the Timbers, he's always known as a guy that can get into a good position in terms of scoring goal, but he's never been a guy that is basically the free kick taker. I mean, that duty always goes to Diego Valeri when Ebobisse was with the Timbers. So when I saw him strike this one on the free kick, I was kind of surprised that he actually took it, and boy, did he hit this one very well. I mean, definitely a contention for goal of the week, though I know there are also some goals that were scored this week that maybe is a little bit better than the one that Ebobisse scored from the free kick, but take nothing away from him. I mean, that was a great goal that Jeremy Ebobisse scored, and the game was tied up at 1 apiece. And also, this is kind of a specialty for the Quakes too, because if there's one thing that the Quakes at least have done relatively well this season, is set piece goal. And if there's one thing that Nashville has not done very well this season, and also last season, is defending set piece. But even then, I don't think this one is really on their fault, because that was just an unstoppable free kick strike that Ebobisse basically takes it. But yeah, the game was tied at 1 apiece. It was almost 2-1 in favor of the Quakes when Ebobisse tried to score a second goal and turn this game on its head, but Willis was able to smother that one just in time before Ebobisse round the goalkeeper. Montreal then puts it wide from long range, and I thought the momentum was definitely with the Quakes, and boy was I wrong in terms of writing that, because after Mark Sinkowski denied Mukhtar in the 58th minute, Mukhtar would get on the score sheet again in the 62nd minute as he scored here from Sapon and Romney. I mean, Mukhtar was just wide open in the back post. Yeah, again, you know that guy that, of course, that is going to potentially contend for MVP this season and probably is the best player for Nashville. Yeah, to leave him completely unmarked in the back post there. What did you expect that is going to happen? So yeah, Nashville of course retakes the lead, but that lead would only last 10 minutes because in the 72nd minute, Ebobisse would score again, and he scored this time from Greg Rush to tie the game up at 2 apiece. And again, this one came from a set piece, but this time it was more of a set piece that was coming into the box. And again, I talk about this is the biggest Achilles heel for Nashville. They just have always had problem in terms of defending set piece, and here we go again. They just did not deal with that well whatsoever, and Ebobisse basically capitalized on it, and the Quakes were able to tie the game up. Now, as the time winds down, the Quakes were definitely trying to press for their first win, and Nashville, it seemed like they were looking to just walk out of it with not a win, but actually a draw out of this game. And in the end, they were able to get out of this game with a draw, as it ends in a 2-2 draw in this one. Shots in this one, 17 shots compared to 8 that Nashville has, 4 shots on goal compared to 5 that Nashville has, 6 shots off target compared to 2 that Nashville has, 6 shots off block compared to 1 that Nashville has, and possession-wise, the Quakes by far had the better possession, 66% possession compared to 34% possession that Nashville has. And again, if you ignore all the bad things that has happened to the Quakes, which it is definitely hard to ignore, and hasn't really been a lot of positive for the Quakes this season, but if there is one positive, is that they have at times shown some good resiliency, and that they still show that kind of motive that they have always, that what makes the Quakes very famous, which is that never say die mentality, and they did it again in this one, able to come back twice against a team that don't blow leads often. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is going to be Atlanta versus FC Cincinnati, and little do we know that this would be actually one of 3 straight 0-0 draws that we would see, because between this game and in this game and then the other game on the other board, it actually ended in a 0-0 draw. Though I will say that, with this week, it turns out we actually had 4 0-0 draw. 3 of the 4 were actually very entertaining, and 3 of the 4 was really because of goalkeeping mastery in those games. And this one was a great example of it, because both Guzan and Khan, 2 former one that is currently played for Atlanta United and one that is a former Atlanta United player, definitely put a show on in this game. Now, in the first half, not much really happened in the first 15 minutes, as this was kind of your typical slow MLS game where it takes time for action to happen. In fact, the shots were only 1-0 after 19 minutes. The second shot came in the 20th minute when Vasquez had a free header but missed wide. Guzan then denied Brenner in the 27th minute, and I thought Cincinnati started to not only create dangerous chances, but they started to become the better team. In Atlanta, they were just not awake. Like, they were sleepwalking in the first 29 minutes. Eventually, they did awake in the 36th minute when Amada missed wide from long range. Amada still only have 1 goal for Atlanta United, and again, it's still early in the season, and I don't want to call him a bust right away, but he is started to approach that way, with the way that he still have only scored 1 goal and haven't really contributed a lot in the assist department, when that was exactly what they bought him for when he come to Atlanta United. On the other end, though, Acosta just puts one over the bar from close range in the 44th minute, and we head to halftime with the scoreless between both of these teams. Now, in the second half, in the 50th minute, Lennon puts it just wide from 10 yards out. By the way, besides the fact that both goalkeepers play well in this game, there was also some missed chances for both of these teams too. One of them came in the 51st minute when Acosta fired one wide from close range. Goodman then hits it high from close range before both team was definitely getting. I wrote both team was definitely getting some good early chances in the second half. And then in the 60th minute, there was actually a penalty that was given to Atlanta United after Baji handballed that one in the box. It was definitely the right call because you can clearly see Baji basically handball that one in the box. But in the 62nd minute when the penalty was ticking, Khan was able to deny Moreno from the spot. And, it was actually a decent penalty from Marcelo Moreno. But, Alec Khan, he was definitely a guy that, I'm pretty sure it's always emotional when you're playing against your former team. But you definitely get that extra motivation that you're going to do well. And I thought Khan, once again, did well in this game, making some big save in this one. And that was definitely one of them. And then in the 65th minute, Cincinnati almost get the first goal as the post would deny Acosta and Cincinnati the first goal. Again, Acosta, another good game for him. Very unlucky to not get on the score sheet. Khan then denied Amada in the 66th minute before he would deny Sosa from long range in the 67th minute. And all of a sudden, Atlanta was pressing for a winner, and they were definitely looking to try to get a goal and make amends of the penalty kick miss that they had in the hour mark. Now, one thing I actually did not write after when Nick Hagelin, of course, got his second yellow card is that Brad Guzan did get himself injured, and it seems like it's not a good one. Like, from what I heard, it seems like it's an Achilles injury, and when that happens, yeah, I don't want to say the A word, but it could be the A word when we find out on Monday or even during the middle of the week how severe the injury that Brad Guzan, of course, suffer. And I think you can also think that it's serious enough, the fact that I've already heard rumor that Atlanta United is already looking to try to get Ethan Horvath from Nottingham Forest and loan him to this team, because that maybe is a tell that maybe Brad Guzan is not going to return for a very long time. Now, as I mentioned, Hagelin unfortunately get his, well, I wouldn't say unfortunately, but he of course got his second yellow card of the game, so FC Cincinnati was down to 10 men. I would never say unfortunately for a player that get sent off, and especially when you're on a yellow card, you cannot make another rash challenge, and that's exactly what Hagelin did in this play. Araujo then tried to tee one up from long range in the 80th minute, but he missed that one wide before Amada puts it wide from close range as Atlanta was really throwing the kitchen sink lake in this game to get the opening goal. And I thought they should have got the opening goal in the 4th minute when Andrew Guzman almost scored against his former team, as he just could not quite tap that one in from 5 yards out. I mean, he really kind of got the technique all wrong in terms of trying to put in a simple tapping. Like, sometimes you don't really need to do anything special. All you need to do is just make sure your feet is able to make contact to the ball, and that's pretty much it from close range. But here, I think Guzman maybe overcomplicate things, and that's why he wasn't able to tap this one in. He had another chance to make up for it in the 7 minute of stoppage time, and he actually had a free header too, but unfortunately he wasn't able to put a lot of power into it, and it hit straight to Alec Khan. And yeah, in the end, it ends scoreless in this game between Atlanta versus FC Cincinnati. And did I say that this was, of course, a goalkeeping battle? Well, what I actually was meant to say, that this was actually another Alec Khan mastery for FC Cincinnati against his former team, because it actually turns out that Cincinnati didn't actually register a shot in this game, and they had 9 shots compared to 22 that Atlanta has. Atlanta had 6 shots on goal. 12 of them, of course, was off target. The 5 that FC Cincinnati has. Both teams had 4 shots that was blocked, and possession-wise, 65% possession compared to 35% possession that FC Cincinnati has in this game. And again, for both of these teams, they definitely left some points hanging in this one with some of the missed chances, but you definitely can say that Atlanta United will be the more frustrating side coming out of this one, because they're the home team, and consider they really pressed in the second half to get the opener goal, and even had a penalty to try to get the only goal of this game. They weren't able to do so, and the goal drought that they've been enduring ever since Jose Martinez went down with that knee injury continues into this game after unable to score against FC Cincinnati. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is the Houston Dynamo versus the Portland Timbers. And again, this was a game where we saw goalkeepers did very well. And in this one, it was actually Ivicic, the one that put on an absolute clinic against the Houston Dynamo. And this is what Ivicic can do for the Portland Timbers. I mean, as much as he is kind of sometimes inconsistent for this Timbers side, there could be times where he just simply stood on his head and was just not allowing a single goal or a single shot go behind his goal. And this was just one of the game where he was making some incredible save time after time in this game against the Houston Dynamo. But in the first half, Hadabi missed just wide from close range, and I'm pretty sure after Teenage Hadabi scored his first career MLS goal in the last game against the Quakes, he was confident to try to score another one, but this time he missed wide from close range there. Before Ivicic would make one of his many big saves here as he robbed Quintero, who was through on goal, and really he kind of bailed out the Timbers defense because this was just a WTF turnover from the Timbers, and Quintero was through on goal. And with the form that Quintero has been in for the Dynamo lately, you would expect he would actually put that one in, but Ivicic with a great save here to deny him and keep Houston off the scoreboard early. But there was no doubt that Houston started off the better team, and in the 17th minute, Ivicic would once again rob Quintero, and again from a 1v1 situation here. But as we fast forward into the 38th minute, Clark was able to deny Paredes, as that was really the Timbers' first real chance. So talk about goalkeepers facing against their former team, and we saw it here with Alec Khan facing against his former team with Atlanta United. Here it's Steve Clark facing against his former team against the Portland Timbers, and in the 42nd minute, Blanco tried to curl one in, but just missed high there, and that one actually did not miss by much. I mean, the way that Blanco hits that, and we know Blanco can score those amazing curler goal, and he just missed that one high. And all of a sudden, the Timbers, the momentum was with them, and they were looking to try to finish the half and maybe get a goal as we head into the second half. But we do head to halftime scoreless between both of these teams. Now, in the 57th minute of the second half, Nishikoda, who has really struggled to score goals this season, and this is an example of that because he should have scored in this play because when he miscontrolled it and could not quite tap one in from close range. And then on the other end, Ferreira missed it wide from the header in the 61st minute, and then in the 63rd minute, Ivicic back to his robbing duty, as this time he would rob Pico from close range. And then there was kind of a chaos in the Timbers box, and that Houston had a lot of chances when the ball was bouncing in the box, but somehow the Timbers were able to get that one away, and Houston wasn't able to capitalize. And again, I also wrote Houston was once again trying to press for a winner, but that all changed in the 75th minute when Teenage Hadabi unfortunately gets his second yellow card in this game. There was definitely a couple of players this week that got their second yellow card and got sent off this week. I mean, that just tells you that, when you're on yellow card, you definitely are treading on thin ice for the rest of the game, and you just have to make sure you don't make any silly challenge or some rough challenge, because if you do that, then you, of course, will get your second yellow card, as we saw in this place with Teenage Hadabi. But, yeah, in the 83rd minute, and I was also going to say that really kind of changed the momentum, because the Timbers, they kind of saw this as the opportunity to steal all 3 points away from Houston, as Van Raken tried to do so, but he blasts that one wide from close range. Larea then puts it wide from close range in the 87th minute, as the Timbers were chasing to try to get a winner with a man up with time winding down, but unfortunately they weren't able to do so, as again this game ended in a scoreless draw. The shots in this one, both teams had 14 shots in this one, 4 shots on goal for the 2 that the Timbers had, 7 shots off target compared to 4 that Houston has, 5 shots that was blocked for the 6 that Houston has, and possession-wise, 55% possession compared to 45% possession that the Dynamo has in this game. And again, this was a game that really the only reason why it stays scoreless was because Ivicic makes some incredible save, and also the Timbers had some late chances too when they went up a man, but they just kind of ran out of time in order to capitalize. And I mean, if this game would have maybe gone another 20 more minutes, add to the 15 that they had a man advantage, maybe the Timbers would have had a shot to score that goal to get all 3 points in this game against the Dynamo. But at the end of the day, I think both teams will be happy, and especially with Houston down to 10 men. You know, anytime when you're down a man and you're able to get a draw, even if it is at home, it is still considered a decent draw. But that being said, I am now going to switch boards and look at the next 4 games as part of part number 1, or the last 4 games that is part of part number 1 of the review for match week number 7. So next up, we got the New York Red Bulls taking on FC Dallas, and this is the game that as I mentioned, is the third straight one that ended in a 0-0 draw if you look at the order of the games that I review. And this was another game where we had a goalkeeper that kind of stole the show, and this time it's Paz, the Dallas goalkeeper, that kind of stole the show in this one. Now, early on, Dallas did have an opportunity when Velasco hits one straight to Cornell, and then Paz almost had a Cornell moment in the 22nd minute, but was bailed out by a goal line clearance by Hedges. I mean, he literally gave the ball away there, and that, you know, the Red Bulls was trying to chip the goalkeeper. I think it was Morgan, the one that was trying to chip Paz there, but Hedges able to just clear that one off the line to remain 0-0 in this one. Edwards then tried to curl one in from 19 yards out, but he puts that one wide. The Red Bulls no doubt woke up after a slow start into this game. I mean, you know, overall I thought Dallas was the better team in the first 20 minutes, but you know, they kind of woke up, and they kind of woke up because of a mistake by the opposition goalkeeper that they later find out that he actually had a decent one and recover from a near disaster. But we do head to halftime, scoreless between both of these teams, and then in the second half, Paz would rob Fernandez from close range in the 46th minute. And then in the 53rd minute, just like the last game where there was chaos in the box, we had chaos in the box this time for Dallas, but the Red Bulls could not capitalize. Although I would say that the Red Bulls were knocking on the door, and Dallas was definitely on the ropes. And again, if it wasn't for their goalkeeper Paz, they probably would have conceded in this one. Klimala would hit one straight to Paz in the 65th minute before Cornell was able to deny Hara, as you know, that was a big chance there for Dallas too, because you know, up to that point they weren't really in the game, and you know, Franco Hara was trying to score a goal against the run of play, trying to steal one for Dallas, but Cornell was up to the task. Klimala then hits one straight to Paz in the 85th minute before Paz would deny Token on a 1v1, and then there was actually a second in effort for the Red Bulls to score the opening goal, but Klimala wasn't able to do so. In fact, he actually struck the post on the header, as that was pretty much the closest that either of these teams came scoring in this one. In the second minute of stoppage time, O'Brien was another Dallas player that was looking to try to steal a point or steal a win for Dallas in this game, but he puts that one wide in the second minute of stoppage time. And yeah, in the end, it ends scoreless once again in this one. And the shots in this one, 20 shots compared to 5. And actually, I don't know why I wrote Orlando there. That was the wrong team. Orlando didn't play in this game. I mean, Orlando did play this week, but they're actually in the next game too. Keep in mind, when I was writing this board, I was also watching some of the highlights, so therefore that's why, of course, made some mistake there, as you always would see. I mean, I always tend to make at least one mistake when I do these review, but yeah, 20 shots compared to 5 that Dallas had, 7 shots on goal compared to 2 that Dallas had, 7 shots off target compared to 2 that Dallas had, 6 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that Dallas had, and possession-wise, 57% possession, or I'm sorry, 56% possession compared to 44% possession that Dallas has in this game. Again, I am just really tired right now. I'm trying to get through this as quick as possible, but yeah, overall, you know, again, I think Dallas will be the more happier side coming out of this. I mean, I know they came close to stealing a win out of this one, but consider how the Red Bulls were by far the better team in this one. They'll definitely take a point, and you know, getting row points is definitely hard to come by for a Dallas team that do struggle on the road, not just this season, but really in their past couple of seasons. But for the Red Bulls, the struggle at home continues. I mean, this is just kind of weird, the fact that they struggle so much at Red Bull Arena, but when they go on the road, this team is a complete different team. And, you know, I guess maybe as long as they can continue to do so, they can still make it to the playoffs. But you just got to think that at the end of the day, they have to fix their home form, because their road form, as good as it is, and in fact, I think that they have the best road form this season out. One of the best road form out of any team. It's not going to continue all the time, and that they're just going to have to figure things out and able to get their first win at home, as they still are searching for that after playing 4 home games now this season. But now moving on, in terms of the next match, is Columbus versus Orlando, and Columbus is in trouble because after they got off to a great start to the season, it has been nothing but downhill for the Columbus Crew, and they lost again at home in this one against Orlando City. Though early on, it definitely looked promising for the Crew when they were on the front foot, though they didn't really generate a lot of shots in this one. In fact, nobody generated any shots in this one. There was no shots for 21 minutes in this one, and the first shots came in the 21st minute when Etienne puts it wide from close range. Zarian tried to score on his trademark free kick shot, but unfortunately he struck the post from 24 yards out. I don't know if Zarian has scored a free kick so far this season. He might have one, but if he hasn't, I mean, he's getting close to do so. I mean, some of these free kicks that he has taken, there's a reason why. Lucas Zarian is probably the best free kick taker in the league, and that free kick that he took from 24 yards out is a great example, and he came so close if it wasn't for the post getting in the way of scoring of what I think is the first free kick goal that he has scored in the 2022 season. Autor then puts one into the stands from close range in the 33rd minute, but then in the 37th minute, Orlando scored, and it's Schlegel scoring from Urso and Torres to give Orlando a 1-0 lead, and that was completely against the run of play, because up to that point, it was all Columbus, and out of nowhere, Orlando City, of course, got the opening goal. I mean, we saw that this happened before with Orlando. Remember that game against the Galaxy where they looked like they were completely dominated, and yet they somehow were able to score a goal to win this one. They would actually score another one later in this one too. Though Columbus tried to answer quickly in the 43rd minute as Etienne tried to answer back, but he missed one from close range as we head to halftime, with Orlando leading 1-0 despite Columbus were by far the better team coming out of the first half. Now in the second half, Galese denied Zarian from long range in the 48th minute, and then in the 51st minute, Orlando doubled their lead, and it's Kara scoring from Torres to make it 2-0 in favor of Orlando City. And not only the fact that was a great goal for Orlando City, but really that was a classic Orlando build-up, where I've talked about many times, under Oscar Pereira, Orlando has been a very fun soccer team to watch. Though, these last 2 years, it hasn't really been the way. I mean, they're fun to watch on the build-up, but the final third is where it always broke down. But here, they not only did well in terms of the build-up, but they did excellent job in the final third to really just kind of passing around this Columbus defense and eventually find a way to kind of unlock them with some ticky-tacky kind of passing there. And yeah, Orlando were up 2-0 in this one, and it was almost 3-0 in favor of Orlando when Janssen was tried to make it 3-0 there, and I don't know why I wrote double the lead there. I mean, Orlando was already up 2-0 at that point, but yeah, he tried to score a third one for the visitor, but that one hit. It's just hide. In the 67th minute, Mensah lift one over the bar, and I basically wrote, Crew finishing has been lackluster at best, because some of these finishing that Columbus has had, it hasn't even came close. Like they didn't really test Galese enough in this game. But in the 73rd minute, Zardes did hit one straight to Galese, so it does count in the save category for Galese. But really, that was just easy catching this for Pedro Galese there. The Crew continued to press for a goal back, while Orlando, you can clearly see they were in bunker mode. Like they know that it's time to shut up shop and trying to hold on to this 2-0 lead. It can be trying to get one back for Columbus, but unfortunately he struck one wide from close range in the 85th minute, and in the end, Orlando able to hold on to win 2-0 in this one. And the shots in this one, 17 shots compared to 8 that Orlando City has. Both teams had 3 shots on goal, 8 shots off target compared to 4 that Orlando City has, 6 shots that was blocked compared to 1 that Orlando has, and possession-wise, 60% possession compared to 40% possession that Orlando has in this game. And in some way, you could say that Orlando play a perfect road game in this one. I mean, when you're on the road, you know that you're going to be under siege in some of these games, and Orlando was certainly under siege for most part of this game, but they did a good job in terms of soaking that pressure off. But you also say that it's a combination of Columbus just being very woeful in terms of their finishing, and also goals. You know, that's something that is started to come hard by for Columbus, as you know, they once again got shut out in this one, and it's no wonder why they've been on a very bad run when, you know, they just have nobody that on this team that is able to score goals, which is kind of odd because when you look at the talent that they have on the attack and a guy that was supposed to be an MVP contender in Lucas Arian, yeah, those guys are not really doing well this season, and not to mention the fact that you know, Jarzy Zardes with him rumored to be traded to somewhere else. Well, you know, I know eventually Zardes might be traded to another team, but this definitely does not help his cause of potentially another team making a move when he's also not been in a very good form, especially coming off the bench now. But now, moving on, in terms of the next match, is New England versus Charlotte, and boy, did the Revs need this one badly. Now, granted, this was definitely not the prettiest resort for the Revs, and that, you know, for Charlotte, they did battle a little hard in this game to trying to once again get at least a draw coming out of this one. But again, in the end, the Revs desperately needed this. You can maybe even say that this was a must-win for them, and they got the 3 points that they desperately need. And it kind of helped when they were able to get the lead early in this game, because in the 8th minute, Buxa gets back on the goal scoring chart as he scored from Bai and Polster to give New England a 1-0 lead. Though the game almost was tied at 1 apiece when Alciva tried to tie the game for Charlotte, but he hits one straight to Knighton. I thought Brad Knighton definitely had a much better game in this one, and maybe put a little bit less pressure off of him. The fact that, you know, he is going to maybe lose his job. I mean, to be fair, he is going to eventually lose his job once New England does get their new goalkeeper comes in. I think somewhere during the summer transfer window. Buxa did try to score a second goal for the Revs and also himself, but he hits that one high. Before on the other end, Rios hits one straight to Knighton, and then Fuchs fire one over the bar from close range, and then Franco also hits one straight to Knighton. And, you know, chances was definitely plenty for both of these teams, but there was no doubt that Charlotte was really starting to try to press for an equalizer. Knighton would deny Schwedetsky on the free kick in the 29th minute, so not this time for Schwedetsky, who, you know, he definitely enjoyed playing against the Revs the last time when Charlotte played against the Revs at Bank of America Stadium. Kalina would then deny Polster, who hits one on the volley in the 33rd minute before he had to deny Leggett in the back post. And then Rios almost equalized for Charlotte if it wasn't for the post to get in the way from close range. And in an action-packed first half, New England were able to hang on to a 1-0 lead against Charlotte. Now, in the second half, Knighton would deny Corojo from close range as, again, Charlotte was pressing for the equalizer. Heel then puts one straight to Kalina in the 70th minute, before in the 72nd minute, New England got an insurance goal. It's Polster scoring to make it 2-0 in favor of 2-0 in favor of Charlotte. And I also wrote that was kind of a typical Charlotte goal to concede, because you know how Charlotte this season, you know, as good as this expansion season so far has gone for this team, they have endured in a lot of bad luck, and most of those come from deflection. And while this one, I mean, I'm not sure would you count this as a deflection, because this was, I think Charlotte trying to clear this one away, and basically, I think who was this? I think it was Corro, the one that was trying to clear the way, and he basically cleared it right into the path of Polster. And I guess maybe you can also blame Corojo for this too, because, you know, when you're a defender and you're trying to clear the ball away, you know, you got to make sure that you clear the ball away from your own player, or even an opposition player. And again, the Revs probably learned that the hard way too, because they were the victim of that when they play against the Red Bulls. But at least in this time, it seemed like the soccer gods trying to give them some mercy and kind of even things out, and they score kind of a similar goal that caused them to lose the game against the Red Bulls just a couple of weeks ago. But in the 85th minute, Charlotte would make this interesting, as Ortiz would score his first career MLS goal from Ruiz to make it 2-1 in favor of the Revs. And I also wrote, the Revs have now conceded 7 goals in the final 15 minutes, which, you know, still leads the league as the most goals conceded in the final 15. And you can bet that pretty much that crowd at Gillette Stadium, they were getting nervous again, because they have seen this story before. They don't want it to happen again. Thankfully, it did not happen again, as in the end, New England was able to hold on to win 2-1 in this one against Charlotte. Shots in this one, 13 shots compared to 8 that Charlotte has. Both teams had 6 shots on goal. 5 shots off target compared to 2 that Charlotte has. 2 shots that was blocked compared to none that Charlotte had. And possession-wise, 39% possession compared to 61% possession that Charlotte has in this game. And again, they needed this win desperately, the Revs, with the horrendous start that they had to the season. But for Charlotte, you know, again, I don't think they played badly in this game. I mean, I think this was actually one of their better game too. But, you know, unfortunately, the finishing was just not there. And also, once again, bad luck, unfortunately, comes to break out on the Charlotte team. I mean, I'm assuming eventually good luck is going to happen. Eventually, I'm assuming in the future, there's going to be time where Charlotte is going to get a goal off a deflection. Because after all, you know, if we saw the winning goal that the Revs score was just a very similar one that kind of lost them the game against the Red Bulls, and eventually kind of things even out, you would think that would be the case for Charlotte in the future. But yeah, again, the tough loss for Charlotte, who is still trying to search for their first road win in franchise history, and even their first road point in franchise history. But now moving on into the last game of part 1 of this review is Toronto and the Philadelphia Union. So I'm wearing Toronto because they were able to knock off the last team that is unbeaten in the league, as the Union, of course, coming into this game being the last team to have yet to lose a game. That changed after the 90 minutes of this game, and pretty much that means that after there's 7 weeks into the new season, we no longer have a team that is unbeaten, which, you know, definitely is quicker than previous season, because in previous season we always seen a team that go on a very good unbeaten run. I mean, last season I think Seattle was unbeaten to start the season, like 13 games. It was kind of crazy how long of an unbeaten run that they had in the start of the season before it was finally broken. But this year we didn't even get through the end of April, and pretty much every team have at least suffered one loss. Now, in the 3rd minute, Elliott missed an absolute sitter from 5 yards out. And again, I know Elliott is a center back, but you gotta say that he has to put that one away with how big of an opportunity that was for the Union. But just 5 minutes later, Bedoya hits one straight to not on there again. Oh boy, let me just fix this here. Straight to not even Blake. There. I meant Bono. There we go. Actually, maybe I did write Bono there, but it looked like it was Bond, the goalkeeper for the Galaxy. But yeah, I think I just want to correct that to make sure that, yeah, from what you see, it's not. He did not hit it straight to the LA Galaxy goalkeeper. Toronto didn't play the Galaxy. Chicago did. But yeah, there was no doubt the Union started as the better team in the first half. Blake would then deny Nelson from long range in the 17th minute, and you know, it's only fitting the fact that as soon as I write that one team started the better, the other team decided that they took that as an insult and almost find a way to score right away. But eventually in the 34th minute, the Union would score the opening goal, and it's Carranza scoring from Uru and Gastad to make it 1-0 in favor of the Union, and I believe that's the 4th goal that Julian Carranza has scored for the Philadelphia Union this season, and already more than the time that he has with Inter Miami, which, again, it just shows you how this change of scenery for Julian Carranza going to the Philadelphia Union was probably his best choice in his career, because we know that during his time with Inter Miami, he was clearly not used correctly, and it also is an example of what happened when you go to a team that not only is good, but also have a good system compared to the chaotic nature that we seen with Inter Miami when Carranza was there. But yeah, that gives the Union a 1-0 lead, and you're just thinking, okay, looks like the Union are on their way to get their 6th win of the season. Well, not so fast, because after Blake was able to deny Pozuelo from close range in the 35th minute, in the 39th minute, Jimenez would score from Osorio to tie the game up at 1 apiece, and Jesus Jimenez continues this goal scoring streak and continue to be a very under radar striker in this league. Like, a lot of people have talk about some good number 9s in this league, and especially guys that is in the Golden Boot race, but a lot of people haven't talked about Jesus Jimenez, of how he's also sneaking in the Golden Boot race, and he's a guy that I've mentioned. It seems like every game he always find a way to get on the score sheet, and for a signing that when Toronto got him in the offseason isn't really considered a sexy signing, because this kind of was overshadowed by the Lorenzo Insigne signing. Boy, he has definitely made an instant impact and really have kind of become the Josie Altidore replacement, or the perfect Josie Altidore replacement, that because of the way that he's basically scoring almost every single game. Now, in the 41st minute, the Union thought that they equalized, and it seems like they or not equalized, I'm sorry, but retake the lead in the 41st minute, but VAR basically disallowed that for offside, so we remain tied at 1 apiece as we head into the second half. But we wouldn't be at 1 apiece for long in the second half, because 5 minutes in, Pozuelo would score from Chung to give TFC a 2-1 lead in this one. Flock tried to quickly answer for the Union, but he hits a one-hopper straight to Bono. Arut then hits one straight to Bono, as also before Bono did deny Arut, who was through on goal in the 61st minute. Bono is another goalkeeper that really put a clinic in this one. I mean, last week I talked about how there was a lot of goalkeeping howler. This week was really the week for the goalkeepers, and it seems like these goalkeepers around the league, they saw how much of a bad performance that they put last week, that they decided to redeem themselves and be extra sharp in this game too, which is good, because I don't want this league to paint an image where goalkeepers do not do well in this league, because we know we have some very decent goalkeeper, and this week definitely proves it, with a lot of these goalkeepers having very good game for their respective club. But as I said, the Union, there was no doubt that they were pressing for an equalizer. There was a scramble in the TFC box, but Bono was able to smother that one before any Union player was able to tap it in. McGlynn then puts it wide from close range in the 76th minute, and you just kind of feel like TFC was on the road against the Union. And knowing the Union, this is a team that also have shown some resiliency on the road before. It was a matter of time before the Union would get that equalizer. But unfortunately, it never came, because after Glesnes hits it high from close in the 4th minute of stoppage time, that was the last chance the Union would get in this game, as in the end, Toronto continued this resurgence of a start that they had. I mean, remember, this team was winless in their first couple of games, and they were fresh off of a 4-1 loss against the Red Bulls, and everybody was already questioning whether or not if Bob Bradley was the right guy for this TFC team, and how much of a mess that this team was going to be in once again. They have definitely done much better, and a lot of that is not only just the youth movement that I've talked about, but their defense have definitely shored up. And also Alex Bono started to look like the Alex Bono of those great MLS Cup run that TFC had, because people keep forgetting that Bono was part of that run, and he was also a very elite goalkeeper, and it seems like he started to get himself back into that form. But yeah, like I said, in the end, TFC were able to win 2-1 in this one. Shots in this one, 15 shots for the 7 that TFC had, 5 shots on goal for the 4 that TFC had, 6 shots off target for the 1 that TFC had, 4 shots that was blocked for the 2 that TFC had, and possession-wise, 54% possession compared to 46% possession that the Philadelphia Union has in this game. And like I said, with the Union losing in this game, we no longer have any team that have remained unbeaten, and that every team in MLS have at least suffered one loss this season. But yeah, there you have it. That is pretty much it in terms of the review of these first 8 games. And like I said, tomorrow I will be doing part 2, where I look at the last 6 games and look at the last 4 games in terms of the Saturday action, and then the two games that happen on Sunday. But until then, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you do, make sure you guys leave a like, smash the subscribe button. Let me know in the comments below what do you think of these games. And yeah, hope you guys enjoyed this video, and I will see you guys next time.